Hello and welcome to Diamondcast, the music show with Diamond Black. This week we're joined by our very talented friend and collaborator, Charlie Smith from MindArt Visual, the director behind the video for Dark Anthems and for the newest release, Fall Into the Silence. We're going deep into what it takes to bring a song to life visually, everything from directing the band on set to syncing performance at different speeds. And Charlie talks about how he captures raw emotion through the lens. This one's packed with behind-the-scenes stories, creative insights, and a lot of appreciation for the power of collaboration. Let's get into it. To a very special edition of Diamondcast. We are here live, well, not live for you, but we're here in person in Exeter with Charlie Smith from MindArt Visual.
Yay! How's it going with these cameras in the room? I've never seen such a setup before. I just used the one.
Well, we got three, so might as well.
Might as well, indeed, yeah.
So, Charlie, you're used to being on the other side of the camera.
I am actually, yeah. I don't know how I feel about this. But yeah, absolutely. And you guys were on the other side of the camera yesterday.
Yeah, so now the tables have turned. Well, actually, I'm still on the side of the camera, but...
The tables have sort of stayed the same but slightly differed.
Twisted. Yeah,
yeah.
Actually, it's just me that's changed.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Cool.
So tell us a little bit about what you do and why you're here.
What's your name and where'd you come from?
Ted Hallow's seeded 84 in the darts championship. I'm here because I was summoned by you fine people. And also I live quite close as well. So those two reasons. So we shot what I am considering to be a very spectacular music video yesterday. And I am the music video producer. So yeah, MindArt Visual is the company. I planned this.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Yay!
See that? I'm a music video producer, VFX artist, tour content producer, and yeah.
And you guys have worked together before, haven't you?
We have indeed, yeah. I first met Vincent through Esprit d'Air, another band he plays in, and on the 2023 UK tour, when I was producing content for them, I met these fine people here. And Vincent had the very tough job of playing.
Tough.
That's
bands. Yeah.
But luckily, he's a tough guy.
Luckily,
It
yes.
was fine. But yeah, it was. I think it was such a fun tour to be on, and everyone involved, all the bands, we all got on well, and I ended up sneaking in a few of my services. And I think I ended up producing a few reels for you then as well. And 2024 tour, we did a couple of reels and pieced together the majority of the Dark Anthems music video with the stuff that I took. And
This guy did it.
That was enough on the CV for us to do a full, go into the set realm and do what we did yesterday, which I'm very excited to start working on.
So you're behind Dark Anthems video as well.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the creative force that brought you the Dark Anthems video.
We used the reel about 20 times in the promo up until then, and then and it works really well. It always gets loads of views. So
awesome. Yeah, that came together particularly well. I mean, at the time we actually shot for was it In Sorrow that was in mind? Was it? Is that no? Just Sorrow, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we originally had that in mind, but there were some specific takes that I did for that when the guys were playing live across the 5 or 6 dates last year. But then when we changed to Dark Anthems, I thought, there'd probably be enough in there, but we weren't necessarily going to have the luxury of a lot of synced clips, but then luckily we had the Hellfest footage, and for whatever reason, intuitively back then maybe, I ended up sticking on each member 4 Dark Anthems when they played it live for each night of the set. So actually, like, we had more than enough content to make something comprehensive, and that came out particularly well for something that wasn't planned, I think.
It's lucky it was that song, really.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because we did initially plan to use some other footage in there as well, and we didn't have that footage yet, and you were going, okay, let me see what I can do with the existing footage. And then you sort of came back to us and went, guys, actually this probably doesn't need anything else, because there was enough variation in what you'd shot to create something that was consistently interesting all the way through.
Plus a bit of energy.
Yeah, and I think you captured it really well, and it's probably one of my favourite of our music videos, because it brings back so many great memories that you've captured from that 2024 tour.
That's a bit of poncho.
Yeah, a nice bit of poncho, a lot of Adam's poncho in there, in slow motion, cascading.
It's quite a good garment for slow-mo, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, every time I sort of got on stage, I was really hoping that you do one of your spins, like, just so I could get like a slow motion pirouette.
Yeah. You need a cake next, that'll be the one.
Well, you did sort of have a cake this day, the makeup chair, didn't you?
That's true.
And that was kind of what you were.
Makeup cake.
Yeah, I just thought that was yours, actually. Like, here we go. Here's the evolution.
And that was, you said about your spinning, like, that was one of Adam's greatest challenges on the green screen shoot, was not to spin.
Yeah.
Not to spin.
It's really not easy performing on a green screen sheet. Like, I appreciate a better solution with solid flooring would be a lot better for performance. But I mean, everyone did incredibly well with that. It's hard to vibe with that, because you know what's behind you. It's just this giant green sheet, and you're just playing to nothing. And I think that under the circumstances, like, everyone just was so pro and just treated it like they were exactly where we planned for them to be, which is, obviously work in progress. But now, not work in progress. Sorry, what is it? It's a secret up until this point, obviously. Just being able to, like, set up a tripod and put them in front of a green screen, and then to stay rooted to the spot but still quite clearly vibe and have the song, be channeled through them in the way they did, is like, it's not an easy thing to do. Because at least when you're on an actual location, or you're with the band and you're playing together, like, there's something that you can kind of feel, and it's quite the process of a green screen shoot, I think, is like, it's a challenge for the sort of soul to come across, because the environment's not particularly inspiring, so you kind of always have to be using your imagination. So yeah, I think everyone did that sensationally well.
So how do you, as the director, conjure up enough imagination for them to be able to vibe and to bring the soul out when they've just got these green walls around them?
I think that I have to have a good idea of where they're going to be before I start any green screen shoot. Like, and I never would turn up to a shoot where I've got just absolutely no plan at all as to what the environment's going to be. Because if I don't have that, then I can't really give direction based on where they're going to go. So I have to constantly sort of edit in my head, and also, because we won't ever stick to the one environment, which is the beauty of doing things in that way. You can, like, change things around, obviously, and there'll be, every take will have a purpose, and it will be so that when I actually drop them into, the software, and I do all the bits to it, that they can assimilate with everything, and it doesn't just look like someone's stuck on somewhere. That I just kind of have to live in two worlds on the day, really, to be able to, like, keep focused and make sure that things, turn out the way they should, I guess.
So it's almost basically edited in your head now already. You can see it as it is.
100%.
And how did you come up with the ideas for what you wanted to do, and then what would be on the green screen versus what would be not on the green screen? Because they did also film in a black void.
That was something that I really wanted to do. I mean, doing video full green screen is great, but I think for knowing how they perform, and having been on tour with them a few times, I have a bit more of a connection to how I know the band to operate. So I'm there going, well, yeah, locking it off on a tripod and having them, do their thing against a green screen is all well and good, and that will serve its purpose. But there's certain things that I can't do in that respect, and that is for me to come in with my camera and move with them, and it's that kind of intuitive connection that you have when you're filming someone, where the way I move versus when they decide to do a particular move or an expression or something like that, like that's a sort of synergistic thing where you have those, like, hopefully you have multiple like rare moments through each take where you just know that shot's going in, that shot's going in. You don't really get that with the green screen stuff. It's there and it's used for you to be dropped in a 3D environment. I'd love it if we had like the time and the sort of infinite budget to shoot on a big screen of like tracking markers and stuff, so we could do the real camera movement and all that as well. But it's the most efficient way and effective way of getting green screen footage in is to lock it off on a tripod. I can drop you anywhere, add the camera movement afterwards, but there's limitations to that, as I said, and I've really wanted to be able to have some of the performance scenes that were real, so I could like move the camera how I wanted to and interact with how each member performs on a more of a personal level. I thought that was really important for the video, because I think, like as you mentioned, like you like the Dark Anthems video because not only does it have the memories, but it's a very authentic performance, and that's what I think is incredibly important to come across, as well as like the sort of sparkly visual effects stuff.
That's why I like it when performing to you moving the camera around, because you are my audience in my head when I'm performing, rather than on a tripod. It's like a bit more static, but when you're moving around, I'm like, oh, that's someone in the crowd.
Yeah,
so that I can channel the performance a bit more towards you.
Yeah, that's cool. So like where I'm moving, that affects how you what you're going to do next.
I think so.
So your direction, there's some energy and enthusiasm in the way that you work on set. It's not that you're like, go on, do it then. It's going to be great. It's going to be so cool. And like actually, after doing takes, exclaiming how good parts were, and we look back on it, you're like, this is amazing. And just that energy of keeping it going for you, like 12 hours of
it's a long shoot, right?
non-stop.
Yeah, I was impressed how you kept that energy going right until the last performance. Like, I mean, I was flagging and I was just sitting outside.
Yeah, that was a shift, but but then it's one of those things where, like, because it's non-stop for me during the day, I don't have that moment where you sort of have to prepare yourself again for going in and doing something. It's if I know it's going to be we've got the place from 10 to 11, then I just accept the fact that I won't switch off until then. So yeah, I kind of don't mind doing it that way, to be honest, because you are just in that zone for that time. And as I said, with the whole having it edited in my head as I go, it's good that things do operate that way.
You've done most of the work now. The rest of it's just putting it out of your head onto the computer. It's just kind of executing, because all the thinking part is done, right? Is that
for sure? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, if I could like do some Black Mirror thing and put a thing to my temple and just project it out, actually, that's probably going to happen, isn't it?
Maybe next week.
How nice would that be? If you just want like a film to be created, or sort of just something, you just go, okay, and then it just backs up to a hard drive where you think, I could do that right now with this video.
Nice.
So that's it. So every single second of it in your head, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's cool.
With something like what we did yesterday, how do you decide how much coverage you need?
Yeah, it's something actually that has. I don't know about other videographers, other music video producers, but I've always had a tendency to overshoot. It's just that thing of, but what if I don't get that? But then the amount of times I've worked with, say, other people's footage, and there's maybe only like 2-3 takes per person, and you can still make something awesome out of it. Like, I think, over time, I've reduced how much I shoot, and I don't really have like a just in case take. I think I've gotten like far better at like observing the environment and going, okay, well, that's how this is going to look from this angle. If this person turns that way and I use this focal length, then that's going to look like. And there's nothing that, say, I shot yesterday that I know won't make it in, even if it's just like a clip or two, depending on how good everything else is. I think that it really is to do with how I noticed that the band members perform, say from the first take. Sometimes I have to do more to sell that like kinetic dynamic side of things, especially for, heavier music. Luckily for, all three of you, I just felt like everything was so natural. It made my job so much easier because I wasn't there thinking of like what sort of avant-garde thing I might have to do to sort of make it like look exciting. Like, all three of you know the song so well, you'll feel the song, and it was just, as I say, an authentic performance. So right from the first take, I was able to go, right, okay, well, those angles look good for each member, and that's it. Like it was just sort of a methodical thing.
It gave us a lot of confidence as well, and I think that certainly I felt that when I was performing, that because of your enthusiasm and your encouragement, I felt like I'm just going to go to 11 because if it's too much, then he won't put it in. And if we don't like it in the edit, then we won't put it in. And I think having someone who gives the performer the confidence and the courage to be able to be like that, rather than feeling reticent and being like, should I really do that? Is that it's just like, yeah, let's just go. And that energy was something you brought. And I know that these guys will have been the same. They would have like turned it up to 11. Yeah. And then, because sometimes in the moment it can feel like, because you're not actually on a stage or whatever, that is this silly that I'm being so rocking out so much.
Yeah.
But I know these guys have always given everything, and having your enthusiasm would have ramped it up even more.
That's awesome. Oh, no, I'm really pleased to hear that. Yeah, it was so much fun to film. That was 100% my favourite part. Like, as I say, seeing, you perform on the green screen again, okay, well, that's going to look like that, that's cool. It's satisfying to a degree, but it's those like moments that will crop up, where you have a solid take and you think, okay, well, this looks good, but then it's that sort of synergistic thing where it's like, okay, what you did there and where I was sort of in the right place at the right time, and you did exactly the right thing. That's what I enjoyed the most, and there was so much of that yesterday. Like every single take, there was those moments, and like most of the time, I'm kind of happy with, say, like 3 of those moments per person kind of thing. But there was so much of that yesterday where I could see how all of your performances would actually go together, and you all matched each other, which is quite a rare thing as well. Oh. So yeah, really, just so pleased that you felt that you could all turn out to 11 in that way. But I wouldn't have known that was like a conscious thing.
Do you think the intimacy of the set being just you and one performer each time kind of contributed to that as well? Because nobody could see each other's performance. So
I think that's a really good point, because that's also been the case sometimes when I've done audio recordings, like studio recordings. If it's just me and the producer, it just turns out much better than if there's like 5 people sat at the back of the room sort of eating crisps and commenting.
So you have less of an audience to play to, but you have like the only audience that matters.
Yeah, you've got like a focused creative audience relationship with someone, and there becomes a kind of a flow state. And yeah, that was definitely the case yesterday, with it just being that one-on-one thing. And it did remind me of some of my happiest times in recording studio, where it was just you and the producer, and you just, like what we've done recently with Yanni, and you just get into this flow state of, it's just a discussion about what we're creating.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good point. That really helps, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's one of those things in the past I've noticed it can change per band. Like some bands that gel incredibly well, that clearly get on with each other really, really well, can be very encouraging when they're in the same room. But I have certainly worked with bands before where having other members in, especially other members that don't necessarily have experience with what it looks like in person versus what it can look like back at camera.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which is obviously, is a huge difference. And so, and then you've got someone who doesn't quite have that vision, who's then commenting on how someone else is performing.
Which then makes them feel self-conscious.
It makes them feel self-conscious, whereas, at least if the director is giving you that sort of advice, it's for the purpose of like a greater vision sort of thing. Yeah. It's a bit of a mixed bag of that scenario, but I often prefer doing it that way as well. For that reason, it's easier for the member to get in the flow state, and they can literally just be themselves, because I like to think that as a director, as a producer, like, I don't make someone feel like self-conscious. I literally just want them to be, like I often say, especially with like the slow-mo takes, like, as a guitarist, I hate saying this, but like I was like, don't worry about accuracy. Like, it doesn't like the modern whole, Instagram let's play to pre-recorded audio thing. It's like, don't worry about accuracy. Like it's less about like showing people what you've written and more about showing people how it feels to channel what you've written.
That's a really nice point. Because we were saying a bit earlier on about how when I started doing music videos, I used to think about the minutiae of almost like, do I have the right gauge strings on the guitar? We're going to know these light strings wouldn't be able to play this heavy.
Exactly, And we were all tuning up yesterday.
But watching videos, when you watch videos back, so much is happening within those 3.5, 4 minutes that if the video's done right, then people aren't focusing on, I think he played the 7th fret there, and it should have been the 6th.
Yeah.
Incorrect, I'm writing in.
That's clearly an F sharp.
Maybe it's just you.
Maybe it's just me. But
I think with guitars and basses, it's not that obvious, but with the drums, because you're using your arms and big. So if you hit the cymbal, if there's no cymbal on the track, that's so just obvious. I think with the drums, there has to be a little bit of accuracy.
Right, there's more accuracy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I wasn't counting you in any of that. Vincent. Like, you have to be on it all the time. Like, you can't mess around.
That's true. That you've got even harder job because there are such visually specific places that you're hitting to coincide with the sounds, whereas we're just on the fretboard, generally in the area.
So do you have to, when you're editing each other, do you have to look, can you use any part where Vincent's playing those particular drums or cymbals?
Well, that's like
even if it's not the actual part in the song, if it matches up to the sound?
For drums, I wouldn't do that. Just because, and actually I think that's a really good point to draw attention to actually how much of a tough job the drummer has on a music video shoot, and it's also, if there's a band shoot going on, you have to be in the back of every take as well. Like,
we did that
as we found on tour. Like drummers, like I wholeheartedly respect every single one of you. It is tough because with something like a guitar that has 22, 24 frets, whatever, you don't know what tuning that artist is in. You don't really, so a lot of the time things happen too fast for you to really be able to like pinpoint where someone's fingers are and stuff. But because drums, you can very visually see that there's 5, 6, 7 components out in front of you that other drummers can very easily identify, like what should be being played. Then there's no sort of corners cut in that way with them. Well, it's not cutting corners anyway, but you know what I mean. There's no sort of like wiggle room for inaccuracy there. So So
you mentioned briefly about playing fast and slow earlier, and I think it might be interesting for the audience to just understand why you shoot
we feel the double
things
speed
at double speed and what that effect is like creatively, and then also hear from you what it was like to play at double speed.
It's an effect which, for me, it was one of those things that before I started shooting music videos, it's that thing of like, I think it was really popular in like the MTV era.
The Marilyn Manson videos.
Exactly that. And but not knowing anything about how filming works or how cameras work or whatever, it's like, what is that like effect though? Like everything's in time, but like whatever. And then it becomes incredibly obvious. It's like, okay, well, things will be in time if you track it twice as fast, slow it down by 50%, everything still syncs up. But apart from whatever whether it's like guitar playing or vocals is the main one for something like that, I think. But everything will be in time in regards to performance, but you get that slow motion effect everywhere else. And it's been done so many times, but I still think it's one of the coolest things that you can do. Like I've always been such a huge fan of it, and pretty much when I first heard the song, actually, I don't know why I never mentioned it during our planning calls, but I thought, that is slow enough to do that. So I sort of had this little some reason, secret thing that I wanted to do, because I think I only mentioned it on the day yesterday that that was an idea that I had in the first place.
And so no one had time to practice playing.
No, sorry.
Definitely no accuracy with that.
Ben's like, have I got the right gauge strings on?
Yeah.
But as you pointed out, it's a slow song, so it was manageable. So we've taken from dun dun to dun dun dun. It's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
So yeah, once I sort of got into the feel of what it was, that was it was the song was over in like 47 seconds. That was what.
Yeah. It was like an actual Dragon Force song.
Yeah.
I
But
guess they can't do that in the games.
it's as Nat pointed out, the first time I did it, and I went out of the room and I was speaking to her about something, and I was speaking in double time in our conversation.
It's quite funny. So yeah, what about Vincent? Because you did drum at double time.
Yes, and like you said, there was no rehearsal. I just imagine it. Okay, just play double time, everything. I think the challenge for me was the fills, and because there was no practice, I just imagine, how's this fill gonna go? If it's ta 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 ta, it's gonna be ta 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 ta. So I just imagine it in my head. But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be epic. But, as well, I think there was at least one or two takes for everyone where I'm pretty sure you got everything as well. I mean, I'm usually only happy with, like, say, if you get a verse or you get just a few bits here and there that actually sync up, then that's fine. But I'm coming away with the highly usable takes for that as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go home and actually. I just want to see those slow-mo takes sync to the song.
Nice.
Adam, you've played at Domsby before in music videos, haven't you?
Yeah.
So what was it like doing Fall Into the Silence?
Well, this one's really hard. It's got a really weird rhythm pattern on the verse. I'm not playing like on the beats, so it's quite hard to sync that bit up. And it's really quite metal sounding. That's fine. When I've done it before, I've been singing, so it's a bit easier to get it accurate when you're singing. But
it's easier when you're singing to get it.
Yeah, I think so, because the words, you just say them faster.
Oh, because you weren't playing, were you playing guitar at the same time or not, though?
I don't really remember.
Oh, okay. All right, well, that's... what about...
I think what's different about this video from ones we've done before, I think it's the first one we've done where we haven't actually played all three of us at the same time in a row. So, other videos we've done before, we've had like cutaways where we've done our own bit. And but Through the Misery, it's all us in one room at the same time. So it's quite a fun, different experience to, go one-on-one.
Yeah, and you're being filmed sort of at the same time playing, so the camera's moving all around all of you.
Yeah, so we're going to be digitally put together, I guess. Then. Yeah.
What's it like playing in a room what's it like playing separately where you can't see each other's performance and therefore you can't bounce off each other's performance?
Well, we've got a lot of trust with each other.
Yeah.
We play together a lot, so we know it's going to be good.
Yeah, for me, I was imagining Adam like on stage and Ben. I was imagining, I know because we played many gigs, so I'm just imagining, this is how they will look the rock out, so I'm going to do the same thing. Nice. That's just it.
Yeah, give it some.
We'd never know, but it'd be really interesting to see if we would imagine the same thing because they're like so in tune with.
Yeah, I have literally no idea what anything apart from my bits were going to look like, so I'm quite excited to see that. You know the whole thing, I don't know anything.
You're like the only person in this room who knows what this video looks like.
Yeah.
It's funny. Also, Charlie, you had a lot of time with Chloe where you were directing her through actually acting out some scenes, which are because she wasn't performing an instrument. She was, she talked about miming a little bit, and there was some glass and things like that. So what's it like to direct someone who's not performing an instrument and to the music in a green screen?
Often I think it's you end up having to be a bit more involved, just because the direction is the performance, whereas there's I think a lot more autonomy if you're with an instrument, you're doing your thing, and there was a narrative to follow. But having said that, though, that doesn't take anything away from the fact that she was fantastic and she knew what I wanted. And that, it came very naturally to her, and came up with some of her own ideas on the spot as well, which enhanced some stuff. I mean, it's gonna be a sort of really cool scene, in particular at the end, which was her idea. But it's something that I think especially with the shooting story on green screen, that's when I have to be really locked into how it's going to look, because you've essentially got someone, as you say, walking around and miming, and it doesn't look like anything. And like, bless Ben came in after we'd finished shooting the narrative and was excited to see it. And like, I'm always happy to show the talent anything that I've shot, but I thought I don't know how to like show him and go, so this bit's going to be good. But yeah, she did great.
Totally,
we did great. With everything
absolutely.
fine. But yeah, again, really happy with what we did, and like this one in particular, there was a lot of close up on someone's emotion, and I have to say, she must have been a mime in a previous life, because there were various things that she had to react to that absolutely were not there. So it's going to be interesting to edit. I can't really say anything more without giving away.
Like the stereotype of being a mime is being trapped in a box, right? And it's sort of what that's not dissimilar to what's happening in the video.
Very true.
Cool. So, what was your favourite part of yesterday? All of you, Charlie first.
I think it was that first realization that the lighting and the makeup and the members just looked so cool. Like when we were doing the real world shoot, it's not like I expected anything different, but actually just like turning up on the day, setting up, and then seeing it, like seeing the first frame, like in the first test shot, and just getting like,
Great.
We get to do this,
I remember you came in when you'd just been shooting some of the album stuff, and it was pretty early on, and you just walked up to me and showed the camera, and you were like, oh, behave. Because it was so good. It was like, it was misbehaving because it was so good.
It was like the absolute rascal.
Yeah.
And shout out to Michaela Shadows as well, who did the makeup.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Michaela. Yeah. Happy birthday as well for yesterday.
On her birthday.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you. I didn't reveal it was her birthday until like halfway through the shoot, and then I was like, oh, so we came here to spend your birthday doing this. So yeah, that was really good, and it's brilliant, and as you said, it looked really good under the lights.
Yeah, absolutely. It was exactly what was in the brief, I feel. So yeah, awesome. Good team.
I like performing with the big fan blowing at me. Made me feel very 80s.
You know what Ben's like that when he's got his fan blowing with him.
We had to get a fan in there.
So yeah, Chloe got woken up twice because Ben dropped his fan on the floor.
It is a ghost. It is a ghost. That's the much more likely explanation than I'm just clumsy.
Yeah. So yeah, performing in front of a fan was your favourite part.
Yeah, no, it was a really fun day. It was nice. It was nice. We had the studio to ourselves as well, so we could just like make our own, chill out all day. It's good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tasman Studios.
Yeah.
Providing awesome rehearsal and filming spaces.
And letting us have a little extra bit to do some interviewing in as well.
Behind the scenes interviews.
Behind the scenes, yeah. So I got to make a little documentary thanks to Tasman Studios being very accommodating.
Thank you.
There's a lot of editing to do after this weekdays.
We've all got a lot of editing to do, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not you guys. Right. But yeah, Ben, what was your favourite part yesterday?
I think it was just when we're getting into the flow state with the recording for the main stuff, just with the fan as well, obviously. But it really did make a difference. I can't really overemphasize this because you just felt comfortable and you felt energized, and whereas some shoots one has done has just been like cloyingly hot and it's so unpleasant to perform. But that was, it was joyful and there was space and it was cool and it was with you. So yeah, I think once we started to really get into the main stuff, what we were doing, and we were doing like take after take. Yeah, that sort of flow state bit, definitely.
Shout out to the fan.
Yeah,
shout out to the fan.
It was cooler in the room than it was outside, actually. So, because you guys were coming outside and you were going out into the, be like, oh, it's actually a hot day today. So that's happening.
And I also shout out to the makeshift duct tape strap lock invention that saw you through all your takes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah.
This was
shout out to you.
Was Ben's biggest point of contention about remembering to check your guitar next time.
Yeah.
And that was because you didn't have a strap lock.
Yeah, that was something.
Charlie made you one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Last minute bod's job manufacturing MacGyver over there.
But I was
You
like,
got the mullet. You got the fucking MacGyver mullet.
I was like, what? I was watching the first few takes and just like keep my eye on that like backlock. Like, because as you say, you turned up to 11, and I wasn't too sure how long it was going to hold going for it at 11, but no, it did. So yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
I think my favourite thing was seeing these two boys, which we haven't seen each other for a long time.
That's very true, actually. Yeah,
yeah.
very true. Very true. Yeah.
It's very nice.
Well, but you mean we do more things together. You
Yeah.
can, we'll have to do some
We do
more
our
videos.
podcast all the
Well,
time.
we'll have to do some more videos because Charlie's moving to Australia.
that's true.
Okay.
No, that's actually goes out to everyone of you.
Yeah.
Right now, right now, because it is for a limited time only in the UK. So.
And then in Australia.
Then, yeah.
So-
And then if I come back, then please buy it again.
Thanks again to Charlie Smith from MindArt Visual. And we hope you look forward to the video.
Yes.
Which is coming out on the...
We don't know yet.
Oh.
Is it
Well,
that
soon.
one?
It's coming out soon.
Very soon.
And yeah, it will
Thank
be...
you to everyone that backed us for this video as well.
Yes. Thanks
That's
to you guys. We were able to make this video.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks very much for watching that episode of Diamond Cast. It's been great to have Charlie on the show, and if you want to see more of him, you can find him at MindArt Visual or at Charlie MindArt on Instagram. And the links are down there in the bottom as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed that episode. Tell your mates and bring a bunch of people next time. Introduce him to Diamond Black, and we will look forward to seeing you when the music video is finally released.